Eagles 34, Giants 10. Welcome to Talking Giants, presented by DraftKings. I'm your host, Bobby Skinner, here with my co-host, Justin Pennick. We're here for the number one Giants podcast and the number 32 team in the league right now, the New York Giants. Justin, we've got the offense is pitiful, like really pitiful, and then you look at you look and see the other team score 30 points, and you think the defense would be pitiful, but it's like no, I'm actually really pleased with the defense. Especially the first half, and even the second half wasn't as bad as maybe the score made it look. I really think we have the worst offense in the NFL right now. Like, we don't watch every single team, but like, what offense has a worse, like, is worse than the Giants right now with Glennon and Fromm operating?
I'll take it one step further. First of all, hi, Bobby Skinner, but I'll take it one step further because this is an offensive league. I think the Giants are just the most pitiful and embarrassing team in the NFL right now. Because at least the Lions they're winning some games and they're competing in games. The Texans are competing and they're winning some games. The Jets are winning some games deep down the stretch. And also the difference between the Lions, the Texans, the Jets, and some other teams is that those teams were expected to be bad. And as we've said over and over and over again, the Giants, John Merritt, Dave Gettleman, Joe Judge, and all of us fans, which I will never blame us fans for thinking this, but especially the front office and the organization actually thought that they could do something this year and they can win some games this year. But in fact, we are on that embarrassingly bad level where we're just getting blown out in football games and not even just being competitive. Like, I get it in the NFL if you lose games, but just getting blown out like this, it sucks.
Well, the biggest thing is the quarterback play right now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean Daniel Jones was like, but the offense obviously looked, it looked a lot better. Like, it didn't look good, but it looked like in a different world than this, which is funny to say about an offense that wasn't good overall through 11 games. I think they were ranked like 23rd or 24th when Jones went out. Now they're probably down to 31st or 32nd because they were 30th going into the game, and other teams scored more than 10 points.
They are the least explosive offense in the National Football League. That is confirmed. So
they just don't score any points either. So Fromm gets his first start, goes 6 for 17, 25 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. For all the people saying it can't be worse than Glennon, it was worse than Glennon. Like, that performance was worse than any Glennon performance we've seen in the last 3.5 weeks because he obviously got benched pretty early too. Like, Glennon threw the ball 27 times. Like, he threw the ball 10 times more than Fromm did. Obviously, the time and situation of the game dictated that a little bit. Fromm just didn't look good. Are you like? Do you start Mike Glennon or Jake Fromm next week? Like,
I start Mike Glennon. I
really you don't want to just throw Jake Fromm out there and like he's the young guy type of thing.
I don't know, Bobby. I mean, so here's where I come from. Jake Fromm had
trying to win, not in a tank mode, obviously.
Jake Fromm had an expected completion percentage of 60.2 today. Now, that's not great. Like, do not get me wrong. Like, that's not great. Like, wide receivers not getting a lot of separation. He had a lot of pressure in his face, and the next-gen metric of expected completion rate and CPOE, it takes all that into account of, nearest defender to the wide receiver and nearest defender to the actual quarterback. So, I get it. His actual completion rate was 35.3%. That's a CPOE, completion percentage over expected, of minus 24.9. That is the third worst total of the 2021 season. And really, it's not even, there's 3 that are bad, and that was Justin Fields in week 3, Cam Newton, one of those games with the Panthers, and then the next game of a minus CPOE isn't even close to like minus 24. Bobby, you have a bad game like that, and that's not just like a Mike Glennon bad game. You have a bad game like that, I don't know how you can recover from that. And also just use your eyes, too. That interception that should have been to Kenny Golladay was one of the worst, like, do you even have, like, any semblance of an NFL arm that I've ever seen?
Yeah, that's why it's, like, yes, it's Jake Fromm, and let's start Mike Glennon. Because Jake Fromm doesn't have an NFL, like, he's never going to be a good NFL QB. Like, he's not going to have a better career than Mike Glennon. And I know it's like, well, throw the young guy out there. I do understand that point of view. I really do. But it's like we're talking about a guy who was a 4th-string quarterback for the Bills and was on their practice squad.
Yep.
And we just, it's not like we drafted Kyle Lauletta in the 4th round And it's like, well, you might as well throw the young guy type out there. It's like, no, you really have zero investment in this guy, and you signed him in an emergency situation because Daniel Jones went out. So I kind of am in the Mike Glennon has the stronger arm, and even Fromm was like getting balls tipped at the line of scrimmage like crazy. It's
Yeah,
like,
it was
well,
nuts.
Glennon's tall and won't deal with that. So I do think Glennon's just the better quarterback.
That's not saying
Which
much
is
at all.
yeah, which it's
Because
so funny.
let's be clear. Let's be clear. Mike Glennon,
sucks.
I did the compilation. You know, I looked at some PFF stuff, did some comparisons, and like how bad has Mike Glennon really been? And I did that this week. Mike Glennon has been the worst quarterback in the National Football League this year. I think that's fair. He's been even worse than Zach Wilson. He's been worse than Justin. You know, if you want to put Justin Fields up there, whoever, he's been the worst quarterback in the National Football League. And I am unbiasedly saying, I still think he is better than Jake Fromm. Bobby,
Yeah.
how many of those out routes, Bobby? There was just some throws that even like Tony was our offense today, and the offense was throwing those out routes. Like Tony running a 5 to 7 yard out route and, you know, him turning around and the ball being there. And there were just some of those throws where it's just like, there's nothing on this throw. Just a simple out route. There's nothing on this throw.
Yeah, it's. I just have no hope, and I really didn't have any hope for Jake Fromm. I know we had some fun coming into the week, like it's Jake Fromm, you know, it's QB1 like type thing, you know, because it's like at this point in the season, you might as well joke around about it. And that last drive last week did give you like a little bit of like, whoa, that was kind of nice, you know. Which is
I
funny,
also feel bad that everybody that I'm not saying this in criticism of anybody. I felt bad that people guilted me into being slightly excited for Jake Fromm. I feel bad.
I feel bad because I said Mike Glenn is my QB, and immediately I'm like, I'm off of him for Jake Fromm. So, yeah, I just have no hope for Fromm. And here, can I say something about Mike Glennon? Because it's funny, we had a talk on the phone earlier about something. It's like, and I go back and look at like when we signed Mike Glennon, I was like, I feel like this is a good backup QB. So Mike Glennon is having his worst season, and like by good margins, by the way. And he's played games in 8 seasons. He's been I think he's been in the league for 9 or 10, but he's played games in eight seasons. This is his worst year in completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdown percentage, interception perception or percentage, QBR. Basically every stat that you can do without having a bunch of games played. You know, like I didn't do yards per game because there's games where he came in relief. Like this is his worst season. You know, so it's like even Glennon like last year with the Jaguars looked like a much better quarterback than this, man. It's like we said before, it was a bad offense already, but it's like you're even taking bad players in Mike Glennon and making them look worse. You know, like we talked about it going into the Dolphins game. We saw Mike Glennon a little bit versus the Cowboys. Going into the Dolphins game with the new Freddie Kitchens offense, we liked what we saw out of Freddie Kitchens the first game versus Philly, which I think was the best called game by Freddie Kitchens, by the way. We're like, you know what? They give up a ton of yards. Like we could put up 20 points. Like we could put up 20 points versus the Dolphins. And in this offense with the offensive line, with receiver issues, and you know we're not a big Freddie Kitchens fan, to be honest. I like him more than Garrett, but I don't like him much. It's just like even a bad player, a backup QB like Mike Glennon is having the worst season of his career by far.
Yeah, and that's what, you know, to not beat the dead horse about the quarterback position, because we know that it's bad. We just established that for the first couple minutes of the show. But, you know, to have these kind of performances as a team, as an entire team, to have these kind of performances and the final score be what it has been the last couple weeks, and then to come out today with Adam Schefter saying that Joe Judge is going to be back, and Daniel Jones saying that he's going to be back, that is still TBD. And I think we've said that.
Yeah, that didn't mean much to me. The Judge one, we know Judge is going to be back, but the Jones part of that doesn't, like, I don't necessarily believe that. With Judge, it's like he's either fired after the season or he's not. With Daniel Jones, you have a lot of time to make decisions.
It's almost a spit in the face to fans, where it's like you're not even gonna give us the hope that you're gonna try and find the best GM candidate. You're not even gonna allow us to have that hope of, oh, maybe the next GM will come in and say, you know what, I'm the best guy for this job, and I don't want Judge here. You're gonna spit us in the face like that too, huh?
And you know what sucks is that you don't have to work against the clock anymore. You could fire Dave Gettleman tomorrow. You can fire him tomorrow. They could fire him, and start interviewing GM candidates from other teams. And you can essentially find your GM in the next 2 weeks, and you talk to him, and they make that decision on Joe Judge the first day on Black Monday. So it's not like it would be, 20 or I guess we fired Jerry Reese early, and Gettleman was already available. But it's not like you have to do like a week and a half, 2 week search for your head coach or your GM, and then it's like, okay, then we got to make a decision on the head coach type thing. So that sucks. And there's a bigger picture conversation to talk about on Judge and all that on I'm sure we'll talk about it on the mailbag. But it just sucks that it's like, man, John Mayer is just never gonna understand it.
No,
it's just like he's never gonna get it.
No, and I really do think John Mara wants to win. Like, I really do. He kicks garbage cans and stuff like that, and he gets emotional. But then when you make decisions like this, again, it's like it's spitting in the face of your fans. It really is.
And we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I'm like, if Joe Judge is brought back as the head coach next year, it's not like oh my God, I am 100% dreading this. I feel like you can pair him with a good GM and a good offensive coordinator, and it could work. What I hate, like you said, and we're doing big picture stuff on a Monday pod, but it's fine. It's the end of the season.
Yeah.
That it's like you're not even giving a new like, what if you think the best candidate for the GM, and it's like, well, he's like, I would move on from Judge though. I'd look for a more offensive mind type play. Guys, like, yeah, I'm sure you like some of the things he does here, John, but I want to do things my way and find my head coach. And it's like, you're not even giving a new GM the option. And we talked about will GMs not go here because of that? It's like, well, you can say maybe, but it's instead of a yes or no flat out, it's a maybe, and that sucks.
Yeah, we'll never know until Tyler Dunn writes an article 4 years from now saying that this guy interviewed for the Giants GM job and wanted to bring this head coach along. We're not going to know. And even if that happens, then we're still going to be skeptical around it. So
yeah, so it's kind of frustrating. And,
it's
with
very
the Jones part of it, can we haven't talked about Daniel Jones. Let's talk about DJ a little bit, because I think we are both willing to do the Russell Wilson thing, but there's a lot of cons to it, and it's a frustrating conversation.
Russell Wilson ruined my day. I don't want to talk about Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but basically what I'm saying is, it's not as like slam dunk or as dumb as both sides make it. Like, there's pros and cons to both sides. But as far as the QB position, I think me and you, it's like, if they're not doing the Russ Wilson thing, I think we were both kind of in the boat of like, I'd probably just run it back with DJ next year, decline his option, and kind of, because the draft probably won't have any QBs. Maybe we'll fall in love when we start doing our draft stuff more in depth. But it's like the draft, it's probably doesn't have a QB that they would want to draft with one of those 2 top 10 picks. As this offense being so bad, it's like I've told myself, like, move off of DJ. You liked him in the draft, but get off your draft takes. You get on other people for that. This offense being so bad gives me still a little bit, like, just a tiny bit of hope for DJ in a competent offense, like, in the future. Just a little bit. I'm not in on him, but it does give me a little bit of hope where it's like, man, this is just so bad.
Just so much needs to change. The offensive line. 2
big things for the offense could change: an offensive coordinator and adding offensive linemen.
Yeah, I think it even involves Joe Judge getting that mindset of aggression, because I don't think Daniel Jones and this offense will ever be naturally...
The offense has been more aggressive, though.
I don't think it's ever going to be an offense where it's just naturally always going to put up 30 points per game, where then, therefore, Joe Judge doesn't need to be aggressive. I think this needs to be the football team, and this needs to be the mindset of the coaches, where it's like, we know that we have these deficiencies, therefore we gotta go for it, and I don't trust it.
Are you talking about 4th down or scheme stuff?
Maybe both.
Because scheme stuff, it has been more aggressive under Kitchens, and that's not always necessarily the best thing.
But also, they also need to run the ball too, which
they can't run the ball right now. Whether it's first down and 10, second and down and 10, second and short, third and short, they can't do it at all.
No.
Saquon today had 15 carries for 32 yards. He averaged 2 yards per carry today. It's the offensive line is. And Saquon himself, there's times where it's like, man, Saquon just go. And it's like he's getting caught from behind.
Mm-hmm.
He's just not the same player that he was in 2018 and 2019. Even Saquon coming off of the sprained ankle in 2019 looked like a totally different player than what we're getting right now.
Yeah.
But
with Jones, I just don't. And this is
someone asked a Saquon trade question on the mailbag on Wednesday because I've been thinking about it and I want to talk about it more on Wednesday.
Somebody do ask it.
Yeah, somebody asked. Just one person. Go and look. Don't have 10 people. But I want to talk about a Saquon trade conversation.
Yeah, but with the whole Jones and this offense and the future and possibly feeling better if they can make some upgrades at coordinator and the line. If Joe Judge changes his mentality and actually does self-reflect this offseason like he promised us he would do this offseason, then sure, let's rock and roll. But if he doesn't do that and this offense and this coaching staff doesn't come to the conclusion that with Daniel Jones a quarterback, we do need to treat things more aggressively to put points on the board and prioritize 7 points, then again, the cap is average. The cap is average.
We'll see. And again, it doesn't matter.
Again, we will see.
It doesn't matter what what some thoughts creep into our head on in a December of before the next season. But it's just Daniel Jones hasn't been good, but it's like, man, you look at how bad this offense is without him, and it's like, man, it's crazy how bad this offense has been the last month.
Yeah.
And specifically the passing game. The running game has been bad all season, but this is 2 weeks in a row where the starting QB put up less than 100 yards.
Yeah, there was, I believe, 23 pass completions when you combine the two quarterbacks, and there was barely over 100 passing yards. That's 23 pass completions.
That's with plenty of garbage time. You're down by a lot of points drives, too. Not tight games type stuff.
Yeah.
So, let me check the polls. I said I wanted to check that.
Oh, this is good. And then I have a question for you about Andrew Thomas next. So let's get this poll out of the way, though. Very important poll.
So me and you are both in the start Mike Glennon train,
Excuse
right?
me? Try that again.
Start Mike Glennon.
Yes.
Ran a poll, and it said, 2,000 votes right now. 63% say Fromm, 37% say Glennon. So we'll get some nice people saying that we're idiots for wanting to start Mike Glennon. Wait.
But what about
I did a third poll.
Yeah, third
poll.
And
I said, who would you start at QB? Mike Glennon, Jake Fromm, or Greg's dad? Greg's dad got 82.4%. Jake
I voted
Fromm
for Greg's dad.
Got 13%, and Mike Glennon got 14%.
It would mean a lot to Greg's dad if he got
Greg
to start.
Mercurio, he said, when we asked, he said, my dad. It would mean a lot. So I changed the poll. And clearly people want to start Greg's dad at quarterback.
I'm for that.
I went through 2 teams, practice squads, to see maybe we can get another practice squad QB and start them. I went through the Bucks, and I was like, they have Kyle Trask on the active roster. Ryan Griffin's their practice squad QB. And I actually just looked at the 49ers because I feel like the 49ers would be a team to have a good third string QB. You know who it was?
Who?
Nate Sudfeld. Do you remember who that Nate Sudfeld is?
I mean, how does he have I know who he is, but how does he have a relation to what we do?
Well, it's just week 17 last year, the Eagles put in Nate Sudfeld.
Funny. There we go. Okay.
All right, so talk about Andrew Thomas giving up a pressure and a bad run play.
I mean, I know I have a genuine question for you. I thought he had a bad game. Did he have a bad game?
I don't know about overall. He gave up that one pressure to Sweat. Can I say, okay, so I'm a big Andrew Thomas fan. Yeah. I have been a little disappointed in him in the run game this year. He's been their best run blocker. That it's not saying much, but he's just not moving guys the way he did last year. Last year he moved guys, and I think part of that was playing next to Shane Lemieux instead of Matt Skura, and they ran more of a gap scheme with Gallman and Morris. But it's he hasn't had the highlight run blocking plays that he had last year. You know what I mean? And I kind of it's part of it. I think it's fixing his technique, so he's not leaning on guys a little bit. So he's not. Last year he would have plays where he would kind of fall on his face, but I'm like, I can deal with him falling on his face once or twice if he's moving guys. Majority of the time. Where this year he's a lot more sound in his technique, but that initial pop punch isn't moving guys like a Mekhi Becton would. So that's my critique on Andrew Thomas for the season.
Yeah. Yeah, just I saw some pressures, saw some guys beating him.
I'm going to do an O-line report, so I'll give you a full analysis on Andrew Thomas.
There will be an O-line report.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, so
Matt Parrott got... I don't know. The way Matt Parrott went down was kind of like, oh my gosh, he seriously hurt his
non-contact. It was like he stepped with, I think, his right leg.
And then
he was blocking somebody.
He just grabbed his left leg and like jumped to the ground.
Yeah.
Like something bad happened. So
bad.
I feel... And then Isaiah Wilson didn't come in for any jumbo snaps, so
Nope.
we didn't get to see him. But we did get to see the picture of license plate guy posted of him. He's a big man.
He's a big mama loop.
So that was interesting.
Scorer went down, and Wes Martin came in, and then Corey Cunningham came in at right tackle. So even though Isaiah Wilson was active, he did not come into the game.
Yeah, we kind of knew that wasn't going to happen.
No, I just throwing it out there.
Corey Cunningham. Well, I wonder, maybe I'll give it a little Corey Cunningham will get his own segment on the O-line report. How about that? So new player. I always put new players in it. So Corey Cunningham, Andrew Thomas, and we'll see what else. It'll probably just be those two. Anything else offensively? Galladay 0 catches with Jake Fromm. So Fromm getting Galladay involved, talking point, bad.
Tony out routes, and he got a screen that, he got some screens that did all right. And then Galladay invisible. That's my last offensive note.
Guys like me and Galladay, we get our money and it doesn't hurt as much.
Yeah, how do you think he feels, man? Because I really do think.
I think he sees that the
Kenny
QBs
Galladay
are really
cares.
bad.
I think Kenny Galladay cares.
I don't think he cares that much right now because of the quarterback play. But when Daniel Jones was in, I think he did like DJ, and I think he hated Jason Garrett. He did hate Jason Garrett. We know that for a fact. Even sourced up, like Kenny Galladay hated Jason Garrett, and he likes DJ. So anyways, hey fellas, and even women, we don't discriminate. Yeah, we all got to shave. The episode of Talking Giants is brought to you by our favorite producers of ball trimmers, Manscaped. The global leaders in below-the-waist grooming are leaving 2021 with a new product. Whoa, clean yourself into the new year with the ultimate premium body wash. Wow. Also, special offer alert. You say the word alert instead of Jake Fromm going into the line saying, all right, here we go. It's like, all right, don't tell him when we're going. Use the code GIANTS for 20% off, plus free shipping at manscaped.com. 4 million men already trust Manscaped. Time to join them. 4 million. Can't go wrong with that. That's almost as many people voted for us in the last election. Justin, what was the highlight of 2020 for you? And what are you looking forward to in 2022?
The highlight of 2020 for me.
2021. Was it Jason Garrett getting fired? Or was it going full-time at John Boy Media? Or was it something else?
You know what? I'll say going full-time at John Boy Media.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to starting off the year strong with going to the Senior Bowl, Bobby Skinner.
I'm very excited for the Senior Bowl, by the way.
Yeah. I think it's going to be huge. Hey, if you're excited for the draft and if you're excited for the offseason and the next step, follow us. Don't just tune out. Stay tuned with us because that's going to be huge. We'll bring Manscaped products with us.
We're going to ball this offseason. 2022, it's on its way. And the last thing you want is to be the guy with pubes getting in your way of making this year your best yet. Come on, guys. 2021 sucked, and that's why Manscaped is making a splash and upping your grooming game. The Signature Lawnmower 4.0 is here to take down every pube in its freaking path, unless you want to leave a little strip there. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trim by focusing on an intelligent functionality and an incredible, comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. It's even waterproof. I checked it. It's true. The tool is amazing. I'm confident using the 4.0 to leave 2021 and my gross pubes with it. Just, you know what? I'm going to shave on December 31st just because of this ad. You know what else I'm confident about? Smelling like $1 million. Like, I definitely smell like that nowadays. You may be asking how, and I'm happy you did. Get a job doing Talking Giants. I use the Manscaped Refined Cologne with the same signature scent that's all in Manscaped formulas. Great compliment to your collection, guys. So, use the code GIANTS for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. I'm all in on confidence and smelling good this year. Join me with Manscaped. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code GIANTS at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code GIANTS. And happy January 1st year ball. I also don't do the New Year's thing. I go off of the Jewish calendar, even though I'm not a Jew.
Okay. But
I don't make as big of a deal about that as like Christmas.
We're gonna use Manscaped products on the football grunt. I just decided it when we're at the Senior Bowl.
Let's not use that word "were" so loosely.
I will.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a question for you before we move to the defense.
Mr. Chicken was there. He says Wilson is the biggest human being he's ever seen before.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't doubt it. Mr. Chicken, please give a description of what your day was like, and we'll try. Bobby, you have to read it at the end of the show. I have a question for you. So Joe Judge did that fun thing again towards the beginning of the game, where
I know what you're gonna ask.
He had the offense out there, and then the punt team ran on the field. So here's my question to you. What is the competitive advantage of doing that? Besides trying to catch the Eagles in a situation where they have 12 guys on the field. Or 10, but that frankly doesn't matter on a punt. And Bobby Skinner is sneezing. Oh, that's you. That's you. I counted about 8 right there.
Okay, so I know it's annoying because it's like everything Joe Judge does is stupid. By the way, actually, I'll save that for a sec. But Darqueze Dennard, we didn't talk about him on special teams.
I deleted my tweet.
Wow. So the competitive advantage of that is, one, you can try and get the Eagles to make a mistake. It's just like, hey, get the punt return team is waiting. Like, what are they going to do? Okay, they're going to go for it. It's like, all right, relax. Like, you think it's stupid, but it's like, it happens. I mean, I remember even in a walkthrough, I was on the field goal team my first year in college, and it was a walkthrough, and the field goal team went out there, and I was talking to someone, and they call for field goal, and this is with no noise or anything. They call for field goal, and the coach wanted to kill me because I didn't go out there. And that was on a Friday walkthrough. The other thing is, it sets it up for trick plays. So, you remember Evan Ingram versus the Cowboys last year? That was on a field goal, not a punt, where it's like they rush them off. It's to set it up to maybe do a trick play in the future, where you have the offense run off the field, but you have Evan Ingram or whoever just stand right at the sideline and hope they don't cover him. So, that's it. So, I know, criticize the not going for a fourth down. Don't criticize that.
I mean, I'll criticize doing that when you never go for it on fourth down. That's the thing.
We do sometimes, but we don't do it enough.
If you went for it on fourth down more occasionally, then it's like when the offense is on the field, there's actually a threat of like, oh, they may actually snap the ball here, but they never snap the ball. When the game is relevant, by the way, they always go for it when the game doesn't matter. But when the game's relevant, they never go for it.
Yeah, what I will say is it's to be annoyed at them like doing the hard count thing. That's because like we never are like, and they make it so clear that it's not going to snap. They're not going to snap it on that, which they haven't done as much this year, but they did it.
How come they didn't do it with Jake Fromm, the hard count master?
I don't know. Jake Fromm is the hard count master. If there's one thing he's better than Glennon,
missed opportunity by the coaching staff.
It's the hard count. So that's that.
Defense.
All right, defensively.
Can I say something?
I guess so. It's a podcast.
Lorenzo Carter is the best player in the NFL.
I'm not budging. I'm not falling for it. 1 year, $1 million. I'm not coming off of that, even though he's had 2 strip sacks in the last 2 games, 3 total sacks in the last 2 games, and the Chargers game we walked away seeing like Lorenzo Carter actually played kind of well in this game, and he like dominated Rashawn Slater on one snap where Jason Herbert had one of the best highlights of the season.
Jason Herbert?
I said Justin.
I heard Jason. Lorenzo Carter has 3 sacks.
You're Jason.
This is true. I'm willing to give Lorenzo Carter an additional $1 million for every sack that he gets this year. So right now it's at 1 year, $3 million.
I'm not budging. 1 year, $1 million.
He is playing well though, and that actually
I'm
does.
I'm not falling
make me
for
happy.
it though. I'm sorry. I'm happy for him. I'm not being sucked back in. Like if he gets a contract that's over $2 million per year, I will be bothered. I don't care if it's 2.01 mil. It's like Lorenzo Carter hasn't earned this contract. So defensively overall. Again, they gave up 27 points. The Eagles scored 34, but one of those was off of a pick 6. Gave up 27 points, which isn't good. But I walk away from this game very happy about the defense, and especially when you consider Jaren Williams and Julian Love were starting corners for us. They had 3 points at the half, the Eagles. And that wasn't just like, the bend don't break and we had a nice turnover and their first 4 drives, the Eagles, combined for 25 yards. They were 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 1 first down, and then a punt. Like
they were bad.
Yeah, they were like balling out. This defense was balling out. Almost had a Stephen Parker interception, which would have led to a Giants field goal. But it didn't happen because Stephen Parker, and think about that situation. Like Stephen Parker, the first drive of the game is in on a third down. It's like Stephen Parker might be the player I know the least about on this entire team, and we forgot to freaking make fun of Darqueze Dennard.
We can go back to it.
Yeah, but we'll do it in a second because it's not that important, and he actually doesn't deserve the hate as much, apparently.
No, I deleted the tweet.
And then, the second drive starts. We throw an interception, and they get a touchdown off of a 21-yard drive. Which is like, yeah, could we be a little better in the red zone? Yeah, but it was a 21-yard drive. And then, so it's 10-3 at that point. Well, then the offense comes out and sucks again and punts. And the punt team gives up a 40-yard punt return to Jalen Reagor. The Eagles get 2 yards and kick a field goal. So they get 3 points off of a 2-yard drive. 4th and 8. That's a win, right? Well, they got 3 points off of a drive that got 2 points, and it's 13-3. And with our offense, the game was essentially over at that point. Like when they hit that second field goal, it was like game over. Like like in my head, I was like that the game's over now that they have a 10-point lead. 10-3, you can score on any drive. 13-3, the game was over, and then they gave up 2 longer touchdown drives, and then a pick six by on that Mike Glennon throw.
Do you know when the game started for the Eagles? When they started scoring points?
When
Miles Sanders left the game and Boston Scott started getting more reps.
It is honestly crazy how Boston Scott wasn't going to get any snaps today. Like the plan for the Eagles was to give Boston Scott 0 snaps, and
it was 3-3.
And he ends up scoring a touchdown. That's so frustrating that Boston Scott just scores touchdown. Eight of the 12, I thought it might have been more than this. 8 of his 12 career touchdowns are versus the Giants. He has a touchdown, I think, in every Giants game of the last, at least like the last 5, at least. Like, I think he's played 5 games versus the Giants. So I think in each of the last 6. The only game I wouldn't be sure about is the home game versus the Giants last year, but he did have a big game. Like he had some big rushes in that game, so I don't know if he had a touchdown.
I need to see when he signed a 1-year deal and he's a restricted free agent next year. Hopefully he signs with go sign with the Chiefs or something.
Sign with the Chiefs. Sign with the freaking Giants. I want Boston Scott on the Giants next season.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop. I want him to not ruin our life.
It's the only way.
So, someone said to do a mid-season Stephen Parker PPP. So, Devontae Smith got one on James Bradbury.
I thought he was going to tip it or pick it too.
I thought he was going to pick it, or at least tip it.
He fell.
He misjudged the ball. He was reading Devontae Smith, and Devontae Smith made a good job at reacting to the ball late. It was a good play by Devontae Smith. But yeah, like he was in position to make a play on the ball, and he thought it was staying closer to the sideline, and Devontae Smith was able to make a play inside on it.
Is it a bad take?
Julian Love got mouthed by Quez Watkins. Yeah. Those are like the 2 big plays that screwed them.
I mean, we love James Bradbury, and I will continue to have the take that he's not having a bad season. I mean, maybe he's not having a good or a great season. I mean, 2020 was great.
He's having a good season. He's just not living up to what he did last year.
Right. And I think the reason why Giants fans maybe have such a sour taste in their mouth about James Bradbury in 2021 is because of how good he was in 2020. Yeah. So anytime he allows a big play, it's like, well, what the hell is this?
The start of the season wasn't great either.
So here's my question to you. Is it fair to say that James Bradbury is worse in man coverage and in man coverage versus zone coverage? I feel like he's very good. Yeah,
that's fair. But there's very few like really good man outside corners versus wide receiver ones in the NFL. Not to say he's bad in man. He's just not in zone. Like he had that tip pass where it's like where Jalen Hurts tried to pump fake him off. And it's like, I get that probably works for versus a lot of teams cornerback ones. But James Bradbury is never going to be fooled by that. Like, he's way too smart of a player. He's way too disciplined to get fooled by that. He's never going to get fooled by that. And I wish it would have turned into an interception.
I feel like the plays that he makes, he's in zone coverage and then he's filling a gap and he's filling a territory and he's stepping up and he's intercepting a ball. He's deflecting a pass versus the plays that he gives up. He's trailing in coverage and he's asked to cover crossing routes. He's asked to cover, streaks down the field against wide receiver number ones. So that's when I feel like he gets beat versus when I see him make those plays, he's asked to cover grass, but what he does a good job of is he knows the difference between covering grass in a zone versus covering the men in your zone, and he does a good job of differentiating between the two.
And a lot of zone as an outside corner is man coverage, because most of their routes will be on the sideline, which is like it turns into man coverage. So yeah, he started off the season not great though. Now part of it was Patrick Graham playing him so far off, but like he didn't have a great start to the first 3 games of the year, or maybe first 2. Washington and Denver. Like Denver and Washington, he didn't play good in either of those games. And you could talk about Patrick Graham playing him off, but long story short, he didn't play well in those games. But after that, he's been a good player. Gave up a big play today. But it's like, when's the last time Bradbury gave up a big play? The Saints game, maybe.
Yeah, Dallas. No, Dallas. You can argue that Julian.
Yeah,
Love,
the Dallas game, he gave up a touchdown to CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, so there's been some big plays that he's given up this year, but it hasn't been fully consistent. And the span of week 7 to even right now, I still think Giants are like top 5 in not allowing the big explosive pass play. Maybe that changed after the Chargers game, but they're doing a good job of not allowing the big explosive pass play. While the game was still relevant, I was watching and I was enjoying Tay Crowder and Jalen Smith playing together.
Smith flies around a little bit. I kind of want to bring him back next year. I don't know what happened with Jalen Smith. Because in 2019, when we played the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, I thought that was probably the best defensive performance of any player, like single player versus the Giants, was Jalen Smith in that game. I was like, man, he just is impacting every single play, whether it's in coverage, whether it's the run. It's like he's just making an impact like crazy. And then he just like really, he felt the Cowboys cut him, And then the Packers signed him on a, zero risk and then cut him as well. And you see low light plays of him like shared on Twitter, But for us, he hasn't he was the starting, he was the number 2 inside linebacker today. Like Ragland didn't play. I don't think McKinney played. Like he was the number 2 inside linebacker. He's been with the team with 8-9 days and he flies around a little bit. And, he didn't do anything special today, but he also, weren't mad at him.
5 years, $64 million contract extension. Less than 2 years later, he's cut.
Yeah, and he earned that contract, by the way.
Yeah.
It was like he was a good player for Dallas and then just fell off. But here's the thing with that, where it's like Dallas, like he's not the player that contract is, cut him. The Packers cutting him is where I'm like, well, what went wrong in there?
Yeah. Packers like to leave their linebackers on islands.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I remember watching Blake Martinez film, and it was like, this is this got to be so frustrating to be him on this team, especially when you're playing the 49ers. Like, hey, guess what? They're going to run the ball a lot. Stop, maybe bring a second linebacker and not a safety.
And I thought Tay Crowder has looked better since there's been more of a competent linebacker next to him. I don't think he's looked great.
The run game defense has been better. Like, the run defense against the Eagles team that ran for like 200 yards on us yesterday, what did they do today running the ball? They had 130 yards on 30 carries. So,
yeah.
And they were, and the thing is we were making some run stops too, It wasn't like there was like some real, that's how they were able to keep them to essentially, 24 yards they had? They had 25 yards on the first 4 total drives.
Boom.
They never, like Jalen Hurts had 7 yards rushing. So yeah, Jalen Smith looked decent, but bring him back next year. 1 year, $880,000 contract.
Wow.
Futures deal. Anything else defensively you want to hit on?
12 carries for 60 yards for the Eagles in the first half. No. Darqueze Dennard.
So he just stopped on
Special
that punt.
teams.
Yeah, he just stopped on that punt and he just like started walking off the field, and all of his teammates are like, "What the hell are you doing right now?" I guess apparently he went out of bounds and he can't be the first person to touch the ball. Although I thought if you immediately try and get in bounds, you're allowed to. But because I don't know, but it's I guess that might have been the rule. Is that like, but at the same time, it's like it just was weird to see him just stop and just turn around and walk away while the play was going on.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think it was the first punt of the game, bounces in the back of the end zone. Number 35, who, we just...
Yeah, I had to look up who was number 35.
I had to look it up, but he wasn't even listed on Giants.com yet. I assorted it by number, and there was 34 and 36. So then it was Darqueze Dennard, who we just signed this week.
Squad.
It was on the practice squad, so I guess he had to look there. Yeah, so I guess he stepped out of bounds. I deleted the tweet because everybody was roasting him, and then it started to get into the whole, like, Joe Judge is a special teams coach.
That was so funny. Was like someone.
This guy just got here. Why are you going to critique Joe Judge?
I get it because we're mad at Joe Judge, but that was someone's like this speaks volumes about coaching. It's like he's been here for 2 days. Like no, it doesn't. It's like that's probably the only thing it doesn't speak about is the coaching.
I deleted. I got it off. I was like, I'm not having that. I don't want this to be. I don't want this to be the main thing that does well on my timeline today.
And this is where it's like. I've been saying Judge probably should be fired for like over half the season, but I also push back a little bit on some of the Judge hate. Like when now it's funny to say it, but if you actually mean it, like Kelvin Benjamin was right. It's like no, he wasn't. It's like he was not right.
No,
like he was 100% wrong. Like the guy was told to lose weight and gained weight. No, Kelvin Benjamin wasn't right. That's where it's like. But at the same time, it's like I understand that. It's like when the head coach, the fan base wants it gone. It's like there's literally nothing he can do right.
Right.
Which it's up to Judge to change the narrative and win games.
Exactly.
He's going to be back next year. He can change the narrative and win games. I just worry that that's not going to happen, and we're going to have a new GM and then a head coach on a hot seat, and John Mara screws it up all over again. How about that?
Did Mr. Chicken put in the chat how his game day experience was?
He just said Boston Scott is a bad person.
I wanted to hear details, but I guess that's a good summary.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed yourself.
LPG had someone give him a free Pepsi, medium
that
Pepsi.
Was funny.
That was actually pretty funny. All right. Anything else from this game?
No, we have some other things to talk about though.
Yeah, I shaved my mustache.
That. Congratulations. Why? You were adamant it looked good. Even though the world was against you.
I didn't actually think it looked good.
Oh, okay.
I just thought it was kind of like, I just like to, do different things every once in a while. I was like, let me just rock a mustache.
Stay weird.
Yeah. But at the same time, I was like, I'm walking around Walmart and I feel like I'm already a guy that gets a lot of eyes because I'm 6'7".
Yep.
But then it's like, all right, here's a 6'7" guy and he has like this creeper mustache, and it's like I just don't want that. And the lady didn't like it, so that was basically it.
The lady?
The lady.
Wow. Haven't heard
My
about
mom.
this.
My mom, no.
Oh. Congratulations.
So, Steven Verderosa, former New York Giants scout, Twitter account.
Verderosa.
It's went from like 200 followers to 1,200 followers in the last week. What was the guy's name of the article? See, we can't even remember it. Like, it's like the idea that was going to get the casual fans.
Tyler Dunn.
Tyler Dunn, that was the name. That's why the idea to me is like, well, everyone needs to see this. I'm like, well, guess who's not going to see this? Anyone besides diehard Giants fans on Twitter. And it's like, even this we're going to talk about, and it's like, unless you're like deep into Giants Twitter, you're not going to know what we're talking about.
I didn't even read all of his tweets. So this guy was the Steven Verderosa. He was a former scout of the Giants.
He was one of the scouts fired after the 2020 Combine. Remember in the story when they said that Steven Verderosa, he was one of those scouts. So he got like, Joe Judge came in and was like, this dude needs to be fired. Like, and so it's another thing where it's like we hate everything right now, and rightfully so. He's an idiot. I'm glad he got fired. His tweets are so dumb. Like, he's even like saying like, talking about Eli Apple in a positive way, and he's tweeting at Wes Steinberg and stuff. It's like, dude, you got fired. Like, and you probably rightfully so. It's like he just seems like an idiot.
I'm going to read you his bio on Twitter. 3-time Super Bowl champ. 33 years as an NFL scout. Now on Pro Football Network. Life is about faith, family, football. Okay, sure. It's got to add this in. Driving around our beautiful USA in my classic Corvette. If you feel the need to share to the world that you're driving around...
Not that big of a deal, but it's just funny the way...
No. It is a big deal because it reveals a personality trait. If you feel the need to tell the world that you're driving around our beautiful USA in your classic Corvette, think that tells you everything you need to know about who this guy is and what you're dealing with.
It's just funny. Mr.
So during
Chicken,
Christmas, I think it was Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas. I don't know.
Mr. Chicken sent me a description on Twitter, so I'll read it in a second.
The days blend in, but when I first saw when I first knew of Steven Verderosa's existence, and then I saw his Twitter and I saw his bio, about 3 times throughout the day, randomly, I'm like, I hope Steven's driving around our beautiful USA in his classic Corvette. And then I tweeted it out a couple times too.
Yeah, like, you had a very funny tweet, but you said, I hope he's having a nice Christmas Eve driving, and I was like, I can't like this tweet or joking.
No, I know.
Because I hate Christmas.
I hope he's driving
But I did think that tweet was funny.
I hope he's driving around our beautiful USA in a classic Corvette on this Christmas Eve. That's what I thought.
Our guy Glock Roach has been making fun of him pretty good. You quote tweeted with a job application. It's like, dude, can you shut up? You got fired. And then he's like, he tweets like Paul Dottino too, by the way, where he doesn't reply to tweets or whatever. He just he goes to your profile and tweets at you an answer to your thing.
Yep. And I don't know if this is him doing this on purpose or him
turned off his
doing
replies
it.
too, which is like, you're soft.
That's sus. If you don't allow anybody to reply to you or only people that follow you that can reply, that's suspect.
And he's like, you got to either play or coach to be a GM, which is like, that doesn't make any sense.
Did he play or coach? I saw that there was a video, and I watched it. There was an interview that he did, I think at the 2019 Combine. I want to say.
Oh, I didn't look for any videos of him.
Yeah, and John Schmelk asked him, what was the most impressive scouting combine performance you've ever seen? And he listed this random Cincinnati Bengals quarterback who went to this very, very small school. It's like, this guy blew me away the most at the combine. But obviously that doesn't translate to the NFL game. But he listed like the most random quarterback ever. It's like, this guy impressed me the most.
I'm trying to think of who that could be, because the Bengals actually have done a good job of not having to play their backups. Was it Ryan Finley? I don't know. No,
it
way.
Was literally somebody you've never heard of in your life.
I probably may have heard of him, though. I've always been very big into the draft.
I mean, you want me to legit find it?
Yeah. So he has tweets. It may
take me a second.
Like, he tweets at people on TV, like, agreeing with them. So he was the guy who said that he was like, we need to take Brad. He was a big part of that Tyler Dunn article. Like, basically admitted it.
No, he definitely was.
And Glock Roach made fun of him. He's like, dude, you only go after people that are getting fired. Say something about people on. He's at Wes Steinberg, and the guy who wrote those contracts, Kevin Abrams, is going to get interviewed again for the GM job. Isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing all over again, which isn't the definition of insanity. I can't stand when people say that. That's not the definition of insanity. Dave wasn't capable. The rest are culpable. It's like, okay, but it's like you're tweeting at Wes Steinberg. He just seems kind of like an idiot. Part of me wanted to have him on the show, but I was like, I just don't. Yeah, no. I was like, no. So Steven Verderosa, former Giant scout.
I'm trying to find who that was.
Just a funny account, and it's grown, and it's going to be one of those accounts we always remember. And
I got it. Hold on.
Maybe pull it up on your phone to where everyone could hear it, but it's okay.
Hold on, I got it. David Klinger.
I've never heard of him.
David Klinger, he said that was the best guy that he's ever seen throw in shorts. He's a criminologist. That's the first thing that comes up. But then you have to click and see results about an NFL quarterback. He's a former American football quarterback drafted by the Bengals after a record-setting career at the University of Houston. But is considered a bust.
Steven Verderosa.
but is considered a bust for his lackluster NFL career. In 2007, Klinger was listed at number 10 on NFL Network's top 10 draft busts.
Wow. Mr. Chicken said it was fun, nothing too eventful. I tailgate in the parking lot and talk shit back and forth with the Eagles fans. In the stadium, it was the same. The first few downs we got, I would stand up and throw the first down signal up. When they did their stupid fight song, I was yelling blah, blah, blah. Then they started yelling at me when it started losing bad, but I told them they're still terrible overall. Yeah. So, I mean, that seems like everywhere, where they actually weren't, trying to, kill anybody. Although I've seen a lot of Eagles fans fight at games, and there was no Eagles being played that day. All right, that can be a show, right?
Yeah, we just have to describe. We're still doing this John Boy Media audience survey, so if you click the link in the description or the bio of this episode, and you complete the audience survey, which kind of helps out the sales team and whatnot.
I've done it 75 times.
Yeah, so that means Bobby Skinner has 75, 20% discount codes that he can now use to get 20% off of any item in the John Boy Media store. So, just go to the bio, click that link, complete it, say Talking Giants versus the world, say Talking Giants is the best show in the company, and you will get 20% off any item in our store. Doesn't even have to be Talking Giants stuff if you're fans of some of the other shows. So there you go. That can be a show.
That might have been the most I tweeted during a game in a long time today.
Yeah, I'm usually a big tweeter during the game.
And I was just going, it's just so bad, and it's kind of tweeting through the pain. I had someone say, open your eyes to talking about, Jake Fromm versus Mike Lennon. It's he has 25 yards today. Please don't open your eyes me about Jake Fromm versus Mike Lennon. It's one thing if you wanted Jake Fromm to start, but don't open your eyes me about Jake Fromm. And then one person's you guys aren't critical enough. And it's we want literally everyone fired. We're saying that John Mayer's going to screw this up. They don't have their QB. They're going to do the worst case scenario thing with Kevin Abrams. I was like, what? And then their reaction was well, going into the Dolphins game, you said that we could score some points. It's that's the big positive. It's you guys are way too positive that Mike Lennon, who again is having career worst and everything, with Freddie Kitchens after a game we liked the way he called versus Philly, versus a team that gave up the second most yards. That's your big you're too positive.
We're not a big hoot and holler show. So
it was just funny. It's that's your evidence is we thought we could score 20 points versus the Dolphins.
Yeah.
But I just thought I was like, come on, man. It's it's one thing to think we joke around too much or whatever. It's yeah, am I gonna every Sunday morning? Am I gonna pump myself up and say the Giants are gonna win, and people are gonna say no chance? They're gonna respond and be yes or yes. Do I do that? Yes, but it's we literally want everyone gone, besides Patrick Graham. But we understand it's a package. We understand it's a package deal, so we kind of want him out too. So we I don't know. We suck.
Yeah.
We just I think some people don't like that I choose to laugh through the pain. I like this this week I'm going to be Mike Lennon's the QB, and if you disagree, I like to laugh through the pain a little bit.
Yeah, I mean we talk about this team 3 times a week, and we try to talk about some different stuff. Wednesday usually is a little bit more of our big picture conversation days.
I'm excited for the mailbag. There's a lot of good topics to actually hit, which I wasn't thinking there was going to be.
If you listen to our Monday shows and our Friday shows, you may get a different perception. I mean, we do a lot. We do a lot, and I try not to wake up in the morning and just choose to be miserable all the time, because the team makes me miserable enough, and I would hate to be miserable behind a microphone, because then that would come off onto you who listens, and I just don't want that to be the vibe of the show.
No, if the Giants hire Kevin Abrams as the GM, are we going to come on and rip the Giants organization about that move? Yes. When the Giants sign, John Ross back in a conversation in March, are we going to just be we're going to talk about things in a real? It's like Jason Garrett. We wanted him fired way before anyone else. When we talked about the offense in the offseason, we didn't talk about it's screwed because of Jason Garrett. We talked about the players and scheme changes that could possibly happen.
Yeah. And still saying throughout it all.
I will
still
say,
saying,
though, we need a better backup QB going forward. Maybe not like a big, high-priced one, but a better one.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
Josh Johnson. Or just get a scrambling backup QB. Like, get us a scrambler. I feel like that makes a big difference. It's like he's not going to be good, but he can scramble and put some drives together.
Yeah.
Maybe not like P.J. Walker bad level of scrambler, but just a scrambler.
Sure. I'm for it. That's a show.
Anyways. Yeah, that's a show. I don't feel like being a jerk. But you know, if you call us out, I'll call you out.
But also, here, one more thing, and thank you for listening to this, because this is, I think at this point, you're
55 minutes into a podcast.
You're not listening to this because I think you love the state of the Giants are in right now. You're listening to this because I think you genuinely like us, and I really appreciate that, and Bobby really appreciates that. So,
yep. I mean, thanks to you guys, I'm rich as shit right now. So,
I'm not,
and I'm about to buy a Corvette. So,
and drive around our beautiful USA.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna spend the whole offseason driving around the beautiful USA in my new Corvette.
Classic Corvette.
All right, so we appreciate you guys. We'll be back Wednesday with the mailbag, and again O-line report coming out this week. I think the mailbag is going to be pretty damn good this week. I think with the reports that came out this morning,
I'm going to challenge everybody to make it good. We rely on you. I
think there's some good stuff to talk about, and only 2 more mailbags for the season anyway. So make it good. All right, we appreciate you guys. This is our second to last game recap of the season because we're not going to do one for week 18. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday. Until then, let's go Big Blue.